Hello.
Ji, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear
yes.
you.
Sorry for the interruption. It's I think so from my side. So thank you very much, Hassan Saab, just to join this session, and really inspiring. And I Hassan Saab is from Austria. He is the electrical engineer, and he also completed his master from Austria, and now he is the hardware engineer in Austria. He is from Pakistan, so now we'll start this inspiring journey. How he got this Austria visa and his travel to his journey towards citizenship in Austria. So Hassan Saab, thank you very much for joining this session, and really yes, Hassan Saab, can you hear
Yes,
me?
now you're back. Now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry for the interruption. Very sorry to the audience as well for the interruption. It was some technical issue. No, it's resolved. I think so. Thank you, Asif, to join this session, and really have inspiration to have you in this session, and want to learn from you and all the audience as well. So Hassan Saab is from Austria. He has completed his bachelor from Pakistan, and though then master from Austria. Now he is the hardware engineer in Austria, working there, and he has completed his journey, alhamdulillah, from Australia student visa to a citizenship. So it's a very inspiring story, and we will ask Hassan Saab. Thank you, Hassan Saab. First of all, thank you for joining this, and sorry for this interruption. And thanks for your time to join this session. And Hassan Saab, what's inspired you to choose Austria for the as your destination, and how was your journey from student visa to citizenship? Can you please
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
share?
So thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be a guest on your session. So I'm quite glad that I'm here and I could tell you my story. So the idea started from that I wanted to do my master's from abroad. I did my bachelor's from Pakistan, and then basically in my our final year we started having the final year project, and on the basis of that we wrote a research paper. The idea was that I wanted to study in Germany, but at the same time we wanted to publish our research somewhere. So we found a research conference in Austria, luckily by at that time, and that inspired me after publishing our research paper to look further or explore further into Austria. I was focusing more on Germany, and I would say that going into Austria was more by luck because it's not a usual destination. And the thing that was quite surprising was that in Austria and in Germany, they speak the same language, they speak German, and their systems are quite similar. So it's just like India and Pakistan. Although they identify themselves as different countries, but their systems are quite similar. So their education system is quite same, and also in Austria, like in Germany, the education is free as well. So that was one of the main reason that why I thought that okay, Austria could also be a good destination. And at the end, I think it also comes down to your finances because in Germany, as you all know, that even at that time, 10, 11 years back, the embassy was overloaded with the students. Everyone was wanted to go to Germany. No one knew that a country like Austria exists. And at that time, it was quite easy to get an appointment at the embassy. The process was not that straightforward as in Germany, but also you did not need a blocked account, something like a blocked account where your money is put there and fixed there for 1 year and you cannot take it back. And for me, I think it was a deal breaker because we could only afford a bank statement. So in Austria, they only wanted to see our bank statement if the student has some good money in his account. So I think that was the main deal breaker for me. That why I thought, okay, maybe Austria is also a good destination. Like in Germany, in Austria, we also have two kinds of universities. That is, one is University of Applied Sciences, where you focus also on the practical side, and then there's also only universities. The difference between both of them is one is theoretical and the other one is also practical plus theoretical. So you also do labs and so on. So I got my admission in a degree called Advanced Electronics Engineering it was quite similar, and we had two kind of specializations. It was micro and nano electronics or automotive electronics. And at that time, since that was quite similar or interesting for me, I went into automotive electronics branch for studying. So when I landed into Austria, the main issue, or the after, I would say, the whole visa process and everything, I landed into Austria. The realization struck me that now it's reality. So I have to cook myself, I have to clean myself, and I have to study, and I also have to earn money, because of course we cannot get money from our parents and so on. So you also have to sustain your lifestyle and your education yourself. So you're kind of independent. You're your own boss. So at that time, at the age of 23 or 24, having that kind of responsibility, going from home and into another country, that was a huge culture shock, I would say. But I was also quite prepared, because I was speaking to a lot of people who were studying or who had studied. So, but still, I would say it was a quite a challenging time, the first month especially. So then initially things started to get easier. The university started, the degree started, and we got enrolled into it. The education was not easy because of the difference in educational curriculum. In Pakistan, I think they were sticking to more of the old legacy subjects and everything. And here, yeah, every year they were updating the curriculum and subjects based on the demand and the application as well. So that means that also the people or who were coming from, I would say, third world countries, they had to put twice the effort as a European student did, just to pass the exam. So study education also here was not very easy. So, and also as the education started, the degree started, I thought, okay, then how am I going to manage my expenses? I used to live in a small town. It had a population of 25,000. It was a small village, so it had the employment opportunities were also quite limited. I had to go to different supermarkets, and the main issue which came down to that, since you do not speak the local language, German, and I only spoke English at that time, they said that we could not hire you. And then I realized that learning the local language, if you want to do a part-time job, maybe an odd job, is very, very important. So I really invested my time, or 1 or 2 months, just to learn a few sentences of hello, my name is this, and I'm from here, and that actually helped me to get to one interview, because I after 6 months of so I after 6 months passed, I only got one offer, or I would say one interview, from McDonald's. So they were looking for some cook in the restaurant, in their kitchen, and they said that, okay, we are looking for some student or someone part-time. So, and I went there and I introduced myself, just did my basic introduction, and they said, okay, we will hire you. And that actually was quite, in that sense, I would say that I was quite lucky, because even though I did not speak a lot of the local language, I still got the job somehow. And they said that we wanted someone who could work only for 20 hours per week. And even in Austria, you're not allowed as a student to work more than 20 hours per week, regardless of the fact that if you're a bachelor student or if you're a master student, you could only work up to 20 hours per week. So in that sense, I got the job and I started working in the kitchen, flipping burgers and that actually went on for 2 years, till my degree went on and on and on and on. So I was flipping a lot of burgers, and it was quite difficult job, because on the weekends I was making burgers, and during the week I was studying at the university. So that kind of life, I think, taught me a lot of things in life, which I did not learn from, I would say, from university or from anywhere else, because it's a different mindset. You're coming from a different mindset, that okay, the people who are working in the kitchen, or the people who are doing these kinds of jobs, they are maybe not very educated, but here the mindset is very different. Anyone who's a student or who comes from a well background can also be doing that kind of work, because he wants to be independent. So I think that was the one of the big advantage that actually helped me finance my studies. So I was working at the McDonald's for 2 years, and I was doing my education at the university for 2 years. And after 2 years, when I got to the point of writing my master's thesis, I got lucky that I got an opportunity to do my thesis at a company. So they said that for 6 months we will hire you as an internee, and we will pay you also. for as a full-time internee, and then you can write thesis at our company. So I was working at the company and writing thesis. I resigned from McDonald's, and then I was writing my thesis for 6 months, and after that, that led to actually finishing the degree in Austria. But the real challenge started after finishing the degree, because in Austria, they say that when you finish your degree, your education, the government says that we will give you a job seeker visa of 1 year. Okay, and so the time is ticking, and you're actually running out of time, so you have to be quite fast. So after I finished my degree, I applied for the job seeker visa, and basically, even during the job seeker visa, I could also work part-time, do any kind of job. But in order to convert the employment visa, they said that go for, you have to get a proper contract that aligns to your education. So you cannot get a work contract of a driver or any kind of odd job, because they say that the employment contract or the kind of job that you will do after your degree that can give you an employment visa should be actually aligned to your degree. So I think that is also quite a main challenge, because the job market says that the job market requires people to speak German, and because it's a German speaking country, although things are changing and people speak English, but at the same time, let's be realistic. If you are living here, your opportunities actually open when you speak, or when you do learn German. So during my education or my degree at the university, the university used to offer us free German courses, and they said that it will help you. There were people who that said that we will not take those courses, and there were people who said that we will actually invest our time, because it was optional, it was not mandatory. So my idea was since the day I came to Austria, I thought that I actually want to get the PR, and also as well as the citizenship. So that's why my goal was that when I reached Austria, I looked at the requirements. The law says that if you are here for 6 years and you speak B2 level of German, you can get the citizenship right away. So I wanted to get to the good level of German, and I invested a lot of time actually learning German at the university in addition to my studies. But the degree here, or the education there, was 100% in English. So my degree did not require me to learn German. It was just out of curiosity, I would say, that or a demand of the market, that I had to learn it anyhow. But there were also people who could survive without German, because there are also plenty of international companies who are speaking English. But I would say, if you do not speak the local language, you just restrict the amount of opportunities for you in the market, because it's quite beneficial to speak the local language in a country where you are living, because you have to deal day to day with like doctors, or at the offices. You cannot expect everyone to speak your language, or they are not that educated that they will speak English with you. So apart from university, it was also, I would say it was quite beneficial during my stay in Austria to invest some time on the language. So after, I would say that when I finished my degree and I started to search job in the market, I would say, after a few months, I got an interview at a company, and the company, it was a small startup, and I went there, did not know that if they speak English or they speak German. It was an international company, and they spoke 100% um, English. And they said that, okay, we'll hire you right away. How soon can I join? I said, as soon as possible. And then they said, okay, then we will process your visa, and then we will offer you a contract, and then you can join our company as soon as possible. So that's how the career started. That after coming here and finishing the degree, during the job seeker visa process, during the 1 year, I after 3 months, I got the opportunity to join a company, a startup, and from there I started working here. But at the same time, I was also focused on not only building a career, but also on making sure that how could I possibly stay here, because also the visa barrier also created a lot of I would say problems, or because you're limited to one country and you cannot move out of the country, so then you really need to consider how can I make my life easier. And the beauty of the West is that they really give you endless opportunities if you are capable. So if you try, or if you are motivated, and if you want to do something, they will also let you do as much as possible. So after I started working at that startup, and I started working also as a hardware engineer at that startup. I learned a lot during my working experience and so on. And after a total stay of 6 years, with the B2 level of German, I applied for my citizenship. And that's how it was a 6 year stay that was from a student visa to a citizenship. That led to my citizenship. And still here I'm working, as you know, in Vienna at Hitachi as a hardware engineer.
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Interesting story. So starting from Austria student visa to citizenship. So and also Balkshjat joined the session. Welcome, Balk Saab. Balk Saab also curious to learn many things. I think so. So
Yes, he got in touch with me already.
Okay, that's nice. That's nice. And Hassan Saab, just my question, and maybe Mal Saab, if want to ask, you mentioned education, 2 years education, and how much finances were there, and at the start, bank statement actually, especially how much was the bank statement, or how to manage it, something for the
Sir,
audience.
at that time, almost 10 years back, the bank statement used to be there were two categories: if you're less than 24 and if you are older than 24. So there were two different requirements. If you were younger than 24, if I remember correctly, at that time it was around 4,500 euros. You had to show bank statement in Pakistani rupees. That means that you need to have equivalent amount of 4,500 euros in your account. I think it's around 6,000 euros nowadays. And if you were older than 24, then it was around 9,000 euros back then. But the same amount has been upgraded or updated due to the inflation and everything. So now you need a bank statement of around 14,000 euros.
Oh,
That is only a bank statement. You only need to show that you have this money. You do not need to physically have this money in Austria. And I attached a bank statement of my parents. So you need an equivalent amount of 14,000, and also or 7,000 if you're younger than 24. So that, and related to the finances, the university was, I would say, free. They would only charge us some small contribution fee. Before it used to be 100% free. Now they have introduced a fee of 700 euros per semester. I think that's barely not meeting their expenses, but it's just a contribution that people take the education seriously. They do not misuse it because the government is funding the education a lot. So that's how the finances were during the university, and you can apart from this 700, there was nothing else that you need to pay to the university. And the minimum duration was also 2 years. That means that there were in total 4 semesters. So you cannot finish earlier than that.
nice, nice. And another thing, you learned language, and how much time it taken, and you have to pay to some organization who are doing these kind of courses, or what was that?
Sir, actually, when I was studying at the university, our university offered us free language courses, free German courses, where I was doing my master's degree. The master's degree was 100% in English. Okay, so it was not required for you to learn German, but they said they were just offering it as an optional language course in the evening. Okay, so in total, I would say that I invested 2 or 2.5 years completely. So in parallel to my university degree, I was investing every week. I was investing 1 or 2 hours for this language course, and that actually led me to reach A1, A2, B1, B2 level of German.
Great,
But
that's
it's
great.
not mandatory. There are also people who are living here without German. But the deal breaker is that if you want to get a permanent residence, PR, or if you want to get a passport, the residence or the citizenship, you need the language skills. And without that, there is no exception.
Great. And for the PR, what is the minimum to maximum duration? I mean,
Yes,
as a student.
sir. For the PR, they say that you need to stay, you need to stay there. You need to be a continuous stay of 5 years in Austria, and that continuous stay of 5 years. But unfortunately, the student period is counted as half.
Okay, okay, okay.
So that means that you need at least 10 years of student visa stay for, like, to be eligible for PR, but then you need B1 level of German. So one. lower level of German. Okay, but instead of I going for PR, I directly for the citizenship because it was a faster process. Exactly after 6 years of my stay, I had the certificate and I applied for the citizenship directly.
Great, great. And you also mentioned that the thesis was linked with the industry. How it was happened?
Yes.
I mean, uh,
So it works like this that there are several companies who have ongoing projects, and those projects are so those are the projects or the ideas that they have in their mind. Okay, so they just want to do some research in that area, but they do not want to invest a lot of resources. What they do is they advertise those positions. They say that master's thesis and in this field. Okay, and how it works is that you apply for that position and you are hired by the company directly. And then the company is then linked to your university. The university says that okay, we are fine that you are doing your research there and you are doing your writing your thesis there. Then the university gives you two options. Either you could have your supervisor at the university, or either you could have your supervisor at the industry. So if the industry can provide a supervisor, because of course you are working for them, if they are satisfied with your work, then they could also give you the grades and everything for your thesis. So it's normally they advertise it for minimum of 6 months, and it's a paid position. So that means that you're also earning, and but you're also investing a lot of time. So normally in there are also positions advertised at the university or also on their different companies' websites. So you need to apply yourself and then you need to acquire this position. Otherwise, the other option is you could also do it at the university, but you will not be getting paid. That's the disadvantage.
yes, yes, okay. And last question from my side, and then Mark sir may ask question. Then I will again add the
Hmm.
questions. The last question is, any idea that this thesis is structure that it is linked with the industry. This is the option you have the available in Austria. Is it in Germany or other countries also possible?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same in the whole Europe. As far as I know, it's the same in whole Europe because are they're actively working with the universities, and the advantage for them is that they pay very less to the university students in comparison to a regular employee, and they can get a lot of work done or pre-research work done in some kind of field. But also, let's be realistic that the kind of the work that the research or the university does is not very you there are also a lot of aspects that are ignored, for example safety and compliance and regulatory aspects. But if they see that there is some potential in that research, they take it and they refine it. For example, the legal aspect, the safety aspects, and all the consumer aspects, they actually refine that and work on that so that to launch it in a kind of product or a system, I would say.
जी बल sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sam. First of all, sometimes after seeing you such a long time, really feeling a lot of happy and very
Thank
excited to
you.
ask you a few questions. First of all, Mr. Sam, you completed your bachelor somewhere around 2012. At that time, why you decided for Austria at that time?
Y-
Because there was not so much trend. Now the people are very much concerned. People are trying to make their way one way or the other to Austria. Austria is becoming a popular destination right now. But back in
yes.
2012, why you selected
Yes,
Austria? How you become such a long visionary?
yes, I would say that when we started the session, I gave a very brief overview why we did this, but I will do this again. So
Right. Just
when we were
briefly.
doing, yeah, sure, no problem. When we were doing our final year project, we wrote a research paper, okay, at the university, and then we
Right.
wanted to publish it. At the same time, I was very curious and wanted to study abroad. One of the best destination, in my opinion, at that time was Germany. But the problem in Germany was even back in 2012 or 2013 was that there were lack of appointments. The embassy was overloaded. Everyone was going to Germany. Luckily, at that time, we published our paper at a conference in Austria, and I got in touch with a few people. I did not go there personally, but we did it online. So I got in touch with a few people, and I looked at the Austrian universities, how what kind of courses are they offering, how is their system in comparison to Germany, and I realized that like in Germany, they also have free education. Like in Germany, they also have similar structure of the education. So that's why I realized, okay, why not? Maybe one of the big advantage was that there was no issue of appointments. And for Germany, you needed a block account. Still, you do need a block account. But for Austria, you only needed a bank statement. And still, you need a bank statement. That means you only need to show physical Pakistani rupees in Pakistan. And as soon as you get the visa here, you can come
Yeah,
to do your education and also work part-time to manage your finances. I think that was a deal breaker. But even back then, when I
right,
used to tell
right,
everyone I'm going to Austria, no one knew Austria. They everyone linked it to Australia. But nowadays, as far as I know, everyone is going to or has explored Austria for as a destination.
right. So, some you landed in Austria almost more than a decade, I think. You are there in Austria
Yes,
now.
yeah,
It's
this
more
is
than
my
a decade.
11th year. This
It's
is
more
my
than a decade.
11th year.
So,
Yes.
yeah, now, so what you observed in these 11 years, what changes? What was the initial reaction of the students from Pakistan, and what is there? What can you take us through that journey of those 10
Okay.
years? What the changes you observed in
There were some
Austria as far
positive,
as Pakistani
yeah.
students are concerned?
There were some positive changes, there were some negative changes. Some positive changes
Yeah,
are that at that time there were very few jobs. The food delivery apps did not exist back then, and there were very limited or job opportunities, and people were not
right,
used to English so much. Okay, so that means that we had to really struggle a lot in terms of getting a part-time job. Okay, and that time there were also not so many people from Pakistan coming here to study, but also in my class there were four people from Pakistan. I found them that they also had decided to study in the same degree program. So at that time we had limited opportunities. We could not. The regulations were difficult, and over the years now they made it easier for you to work. You have more opportunities due to the Facebook group, WhatsApp groups. It's easier to find the job positions due to contacts, references. Even if you don't know the language, it's also possible that you can find a job. So the sources of information, they are much more easier
yeah,
accessible today in comparison to 11 years ago. But at the same time, I would say the big another change from income for the students of Pakistan is at that time there were very few people. If I had to get an appointment for the embassy of Austria, I used to book it at night, and the next day in morning I was at the embassy. So the embassy was completely empty. They didn't have anything to do. So it was very easy to get the appointment. It was very easy to go and talk to them, and they used to be very helpful. They used to explain us, okay, you need this kind of document, this is a fine, this is not fine for us, and so on. But now lately it has gotten extremely difficult. The embassy says that they are very much overloaded, and now it's many people are coming from Pakistan. Now it has also become quite commercialized because of consultants. They
yeah,
are sending people to study here because yeah, the education is free. You don't need to pay, and the visa approval rate is also quite high. If you provide all the documents, you will get the visa. So they do not do an interview at where they will reject your visa. It's only on the basis of your documents. And another aspect related to this is that, which is I think the most important aspect, is inflation. When I came here, things used to be very different. The salaries have increased as well, but the inflation has increased a lot. In terms of the job market, I would say there are more opportunities, but things have also gotten difficult because of mass migration from different countries. When there is inflation in Pakistan or India or in Asia, people are moving or people are coming a lot from those countries. So that also means that there will be more competition in the job market. So there are pros and cons, yeah. But in general, these are my few observations during this time, these 10 years.
so So, me just one more question. I was just reading one of the group you because definitely you understand this society very well. Now you actively post things in the different groups. I was just going through one of your posts in which you mentioned that like other European countries, Austria, we have a lot. We have to pay a tax more, and we do not get reward as much. What's your point of view on that? I was just going
So,
through one of your texts,
yes,
one text you
exactly.
mentioned here in this post. Yeah.
Yeah,
So can you just take us through what actually
mhm.
the situation is?
So unfortunately, I would say, or fortunately, it's fortunately and unfortunately. So depends on which side
Right.
you're on. So
Right.
here they have a kind of a socialist society. Socialist means that the government makes sure that everyone gets the health care, everyone gets the roof over their head, and the basics, everyone will have it. That means that if you are doing a blue collar job, if you're a cleaner, or if you are a mechanic, or if you are doing any kind of basic job, and you're paying 10% tax. So there are different brackets of tax. The more you earn, the higher tax
Right.
bracket you are in. And the highest tax
Right.
bracket is around 53%. And unfortunately, if you earn a little bit more, or in my case, I would say I'm in the 53% tax bracket. That means that 53% of my salary is already deducted at source before it gets to me. But actually, in reality, that means that if there is a person who gives 10% tax, he's getting the same benefits as me. So in these countries, you have to understand that where your money is going. And if you are not utilizing the system a lot, for example, Alhamdulillah, I'm healthy, so I'm not going to hospital a lot. I'm not utilizing the unemployment benefits. Okay, so in that case, where is the money going? The money is not coming. I do not see the money at the moment, although I'm paying 50% tax, but the same benefits are available for the person who's paying 10% tax. So this
Yeah.
there is a kind of dissatisfaction, because there are also other countries like Singapore, as I mentioned in that post, where they're
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
also managing pretty fairly or pretty well, but their taxation isn't so high. So this was my comment
Right.
about my or frustration about dissatisfaction from the amount of taxes being charged here. So this you need to keep in
Right.
mind. Although the salaries are here are very well, and they advertise it as quite high, but it's before tax. So you need to always ask yourself what's before tax and what's after tax.
Right. Right. So, Asan, when Dr. Habib and we were thinking or planning of this session, we received some couple of questions from the people from here that they told us what the all the consultants what they portray, as you mentioned, just needs a document. Say they say there's no problem of the study gap, just you need the IELTS. Maybe you don't need IELTS a decade ago, but now IELTS is compulsory. So what consultant says, we just need your IELTS, your bachelor degree, more than 60%, and your GPA more than 2.5, that is going minimum more than 2.5, and you got a IELTS, and then say it's not a big deal. Is it so? Or you would like to add
Uh,
it's a bit tough? But consultants used to portray like this. And
this
then they say
this
you have to wait for a 1 year or 1.5 year.
Yes, this used to be kind of true. So what happened was, over the years there were many people who were being sent by consultants here, and their main goal was either to earn money or either to stay here in Austria, so or in Europe. Okay,
Right.
so many of the people, they did not complete their studies, or they were working, or the embassies or the government saw the statistics, because all the universities are government. There is no private university, and that's why education is
Right.
free. So the government is investing a lot
Yes.
in for the education. That means that if I'm paying, I would say 500 per semester, that barely even pays a professor for a month, not even close to that. So that means that a lot of money is coming from the government. The government saw statistics that a lot of people are coming from these countries, and they are not completing their education, and then we have to that means that we are losing also a lot of money. Okay, and one of the reason was, actually, yes, this is quite true, that the educational gap does not matter, because for the university, they will have some small interview, and they will say that, okay, if they think that you're capable enough, they will give you a position. And the embassy doesn't care. They only see that, okay, you have an admission letter, and they can only decide on the basis of requirements. If the requirements are all check marked, then they cannot deny anything. Okay, so this used to be kind of true, but that people only had bachelor's degree and also with IELTS, and then the study gap didn't matter. They were coming here a lot. But from this year, I would say from 2025, things have changed. So now the embassy says that you need to have a certain GPA. Now the embassy in Pakistan says that, I think, I don't know the exact GPA, but it's a 3 plus GPA. So now the embassy says that you need to have a certain GPA for in order to be eligible for student visa. So now things have changed. This educational gap still does not matter, because they here
Right.
the society in the concept in this society is that you at any you there you are, can always learn. Your age does not matter. It should not be it's restricting you to study.
Right. Right. I mean, another one question comes. as compared to England. We see people here with the low GPAs and they're going there England on assignment base. They are clearing those degrees quite easily, even in 1 year in England. Now, compared to Austria, do you think the level of studies here it really needs a lot of hard work and dedication to complete a degree? Do you find it easier as compared to Pakistan, or you think no, you need to be fully dedicated, motivated?
Um, I would say that in this case, when I came from Pakistan to here, I thought, okay, that the education will be easy. No, it was not easy. Because of the fact
Right,
that you are not paying them anything, there is no money part involved. They are not concerned whether you are giving money or not, but they are not concerned if you are passing or failing. If you will not meet a certain criteria, they will not have any sympathy for you. You will not pass because they also want. And I asked them, why do you keep it like this? They say that we have a reputation in the market and we want to ensure that we there is a certain threshold or a certain filter, and we only allow people who go through this filter, not everyone. And in the UK, the problem comes that when there is a financial part involved, maybe I would say that this plays a role. But in this case, I can assure you, in Germany and in Austria, it's the same, that where there is no financial part, then what, how do they decide that who will go through this system or who gets a degree? I think the only people who get the degree here is that who have worked a lot and they need to invest a lot of time. Also, I think the main
right.
problem here is that the system is different. The educational level is different. What they are teaching here is the curriculum, they are updating it every 2 years. And they are seeing that what should we study and what should we not study. However, in Pakistan, I think if they launch a degree program, they keep the same curriculum for 10 years, 20 years, even the same books. So it's
Yeah.
a different mindset.
Yeah. Now, Azmi, any message for the student any coming to Austria now this year, next year, and coming years? Should they learn German? Because I think when you read there, you went to Austria, you go without German. You face some problems. Now, students coming to Austria should learn German or no need to learn German.
I think if you want to, so you need to ask yourself, do you want to get a PR? Do you want to get a passport? Do you want to do
Right.
a student job? If your answer is yes to any one of these, then you need to learn German. It's a painful process, but it will help you in the longer run. And if you don't learn German, then when you come here, you realize that you are lost in the society, or you are unable to talk to anyone, then you will be struggling and struggling and struggling. Also, although there are still some jobs where they do not need German, for example, like newspaper delivery job in the night, where you do not need to talk, but that's a very difficult job. You also need to understand the weather here is quite cold. It's like in Pakistan, it's 9 months summer. Here, it's 9 months winter. So you will be riding bicycle at night from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning, delivering newspapers, but it's a very difficult job. So if you want to make
Right.
your life easier, it is recommended you learn it. But if you don't, if you think that, okay, no problem, I will take my risk, you come here, you will realize very soon enough that you need to learn German. And if you want to settle here or in the longer run, I think it will help you. But I would also say that it's not mandatory, because there are also people with me who are here that have never learned German. But these people, they are still not having a PR or passport. So that's a disadvantage. So you need to ask
Right.
yourself what your priorities
Yeah.
are.
And as far as the studies are concerned, even if you don't know German, that doesn't make any difference. As far only studies are concerned.
The education is I'm 100% sure that everyone is coming here for an English degree program. So there are a lot
Yeah.
of programs that are offered in English. So for that, you do not need a German. You do not need German, because every professor is speaking very good English. At the university, everyone speaks English. So if you are living in a university life and staying in a student dorm, you do not need German. But day-to-day life, like
Right.
going to a doctor, Dr. Habib has lived in China. I think he would agree with me, because
Yeah.
it's very difficult. You do not know the local language. You go to a doctor, how would you talk to him? And
Yeah.
you need to ask someone, can you please translate for me? It's quite a tedious job.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah.
yes, you're right.
And just the last question. Anybody who's coming now this year in a couple of months' time, joining this session, any message for those students coming to Austria within the next 3, 4 months? Any message for them? What they should
I
be doing
think
it
I think
pre-departure things here.
yeah, I think the pre-departure thing is that you need to come here with a positive mind, and you need to
Yeah,
prepare, you need to be realistic, and you need to be prepared for everything. Here, you need to be prepared that you will maybe be cleaning, or you maybe be working in a kitchen, or maybe you would be delivering newspapers, and you will be cooking yourself, you will be cleaning yourself. So try to be as realistic how your life will be as possible, because people come here with different expectations that when I land here things will be like this, and things are quite opposite and they are quite difficult, and that's why they start missing their family, and because they have never thought about this, that what their life will be here. And I think the most important part is if you learn any skills, any skill, if when you're coming here, because this is a in Europe they actually value skills. This will actually help you a lot. And by skills, what I mean is that, for example, if you're coming here and you can do some kind of work as a carpenter, this is a huge skill. If you have worked in a mechanic as a work in the workshop, this is also a great skill, and it's also in a great demand. So
right,
like this,
right.
if you know any skill, that will help you throughout your stay here.
All right. So maybe before we move to Dr. Saab, just last couple of questions. So once your 2 year degree is finished, what are the prospects of job? I think you can learn German as well. Okay, A1, A2 level, you can move on to
Hmm.
B1. You've done your
Hmm.
degree. Now we are in the job market. What are the job prospects over here?
The job market prospects are like this, that there are several jobs that are advertised. Then if I'm new and I came, I would say 2 years back, I assume that my German is not going to be very good. Let's be realistic. Then I would be looking at
Yeah,
only the English speaking jobs. This
yeah,
is the issue, because then there are not that many English speaking jobs. And also the fact is that for an English speaking jobs, there will be many people who would be competing for that position from India or from any other country, even from Pakistan, or from all the international people would be competing for that position. That means that the level of competition will be high. But also at the same time, I assure you that uh, the level of competition here is 1,000 times less than in Pakistan. It was even back then when I was in Pakistan, it was extremely difficult to get a job, and here it was the other way around.
right.
So
And
like
Asami, what
that,
should be your level? Asami, what I understand for all our listeners that German is going to be the key. What I understand from your point of view,
you,
what should be your level of German? What should be your level of German when you land in Austria? What should be your level of German?
like I said, it really depends on your priorities and depends on what you want. You can also come here without it. You can also live without it. Okay, but your level of, I mean, there is no definite answer for this. I mean, I speak B2 level of
Uh,
German, but still, cannot say that I can go into a room and I can negotiate with people and have business level discussion. This is another kind of mindset and another kind of level of language. For example, only a
yeah,
native speaker can have speak that level of German, like using right words at the right time. Okay, and if you have learned a
right.
language, I think you can never have that kind of grip on the language. So my answer to this would be that if the more you know, the easier would be. I think
Yeah,
A1 A1 is still fine, because you would be able to speak, hello, my name is this, I'm this year old, I'm coming from Pakistan, and I'm here student. This is also sufficient. And when you are in this
right.
society, you will anyhow be forced to learn it. But also, like I said, that there are many people who did not learn it, but they are still here without
Right,
passport and without PR. But still, in the
right.
job market, you can still find jobs. So it's not a deal breaker, but it will help you in the longer run.
Yeah. Atul bhai, the last one, last final question. You did your degree after spending 2 years. Now you're in the job market. Just take us through what is the PR passport process from here onward? How many years will it take? And can you just take us through
Yes,
this
so
journey?
so so when I came to Austria, I think during my first week, I looked at the requirements for the citizenship. I was
Yeah,
curious that how much time would it take for citizenship. At that time, the
yeah,
government website said that you need to stay in Austria for 6 years and B2 level of German. or either
Right.
you can, if you don't have B2, 10 years of stay, continuous stay, and B1 level of German. I said, okay, that's a huge difference. So why I should maybe work on my German? And for PR, it says that 5 years of stay with B1 level of German. Okay.
Right.
And I said, okay. Then I started, after, during my education, I started working on my language. And
Right.
exactly, I would say that when I was in my fifth year, instead of going for the PR, I would say, I reached the level of B2 of German. I went to the government office and I asked them that on this day I will have 6 years of my stay in Austria. Can I apply for passport now? They said, no, please, you can apply at least 15 days before your eligibility date because we will have to process it and so on. And I would say that 15 days before my 6 years of stay in Austria, including the student period, for citizenship, my
Please, yeah.
student period was counted. That means that when I came here exactly after 6 years, I applied for my passport. And after a few months, I was granted the citizenship, and then I got the Austrian citizenship. So that's how it
Right.
was. And but for the PR, it's a bit tricky because for PR, they say that your student period, that the time that you spend as a student is counted as half. Okay.
Right.
And the big difference is that for many countries, they do not count it at all. They say that your student stays
Yeah.
irrelevant. Here in Austria, they say,
Yeah.
okay, we'll count it as half. For example, you spent 5 years. That means 2.5 years of that stay. And the other 2.5 years, you need to have it as a working, as a working professional and B1 level of German. And one more thing I think which
Right.
is extremely important, which I want to add, because you asked me
Yeah.
that what is the most important thing that the people who are coming here, if you are coming from
Yeah.
Pakistan and if you want to
Yeah.
work here, my sincere advice
Yeah.
to you would be bring a driver's license from Pakistan. Austria is one
Yeah.
of the few countries,
International driving license.
yes, Austria is one of the few countries that will let you convert your driver's license. It's very expensive to do it from
Right.
scratch here. Here,
Right.
with Pakistani driving license, you only need to pass the practical test. I think that's possible. But that will also open endless opportunities for you, like pizza delivery jobs or several jobs that you can do without language as well. So if you cannot do language, bring your license, driver's license with you. Otherwise, it will be financially impossible for you to do it from scratch here because of time and constraints and
Right, for our,
other.
Asami, for our, just for our viewers, just want to show this is an international uh,
So you're already
license, driving
prepared. So
license.
you're already prepared
Yeah,
for Austria.
already got it. So this is the international, and if you got a local, and I think it just need a couple of
Yeah,
days, and you can get this international driving license
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
nominal fees.
So with this one, you can drive for 6 months without any conversion in Austria, but after 6 months, you need to convert it to a local driver's license by passing a practical exam. So that means that the day you land here,
Right, right, right.
you
So maybe
can
before,
drive car for 6 months.
right,
But after that, you will need to pass a
right,
practical
right,
test.
right. So Asad bhai, I think you have answered all the questions in detail, and this will be very convenient. I think till the time this our conversation will remain on YouTube, I think it's a very early. We have got very less interviews from the students from Australia directly coming with such
Hmm.
open things, and somebody like you having experience of more than decade. I think it will be very useful for the time to
Yeah,
come. Till the time will
yeah,
be there on the
yeah.
YouTube, everyone can take advantage of this one. Asami, just adding a couple of more questions with this one, and then we move to Dr. Saab.
Yeah, sure.
Asami, the first question is, Asami, one more question is about the selection. Let's talk about electrical engineer because you got electrical engineering. Have you got a huge variety, or can you just normally these are the few universities? This is a particular city. These are the universities. Electrical engineer. This is the better. This is have got a more job prospect. Definitely, everybody's got his own interest, but just a little guidance. Can you take us just through?
Yeah, so nowadays the main, I would say the main scope is the degree programs that are being offered in English. They are the ones which are either electrical engineering, they are mostly related to aviation, they are mostly related to software, computer science, AI. These are the degree programs which are being offered in English. And the I think the easiest way is to find there's a study selection program. So there's a website where you can actually filter for your degree program which are being offered in English. I think it's called studyinaustria.at. That's the website. And over there you can actually filter
Yeah.
what based on your interest, and it will show you all the degree programs that are being offered. But there are plenty of ones. For example, the business relations, and there are also other like mechanical engineering, and so there are plenty of options that are available. You need to see that which ones are available, which ones do you want, because it could be that there are three or four degree programs that are relevant for you. One is being offered in a big city like Vienna, but there are other ones which are being offered in a small city or a village. So that really depends on your interest, on what you want. But nowadays, the mostly the people who are coming here, they are studying software engineering, computer science, embedded engineering, and AI. This is a very, very high trend these
Yeah.
days.
Yes, yes, Malsab, I think so. If there is no question, so Hassan Sahab, just you
Okay,
mentioned the
Hassan, if you
GPA.
can listen me, just one more last
Hmm.
question.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I can hear you.
Wait, am I audible?
Yeah, yes,
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 yes.
you are audible. Please ask. We are waiting here.
I think there's some kind of delay.
Yes, yes, I think so. Malsab, you can ask. Yeah, is a problem. So you mentioned Hassan Sahab, the GPA. GPA for all the universities is for example, if some universities are still accepting low GPA students, or what's the scenario if that will guarantee the visa or not, something like that.
So I think the universities do not have a mainly issue with this one, but nowadays, due to the bad experience, the embassy says that they will only accept students beyond a certain GPA. So even though you will have an admission letter, you will still need to go through the embassy process, and that's why, because they had very bad experiences with people who were not so serious and they misused the opportunities. So, but for the universities, I think they are not very much interested in your GPA. Here in West, they are not interested in your grades a lot. Rather, what your interests are, what you want to do, and they will have an interview or a small test with you, and they will see where you stand.
But if, for
So
example, if some students still in Pakistan, they have the bachelor and less than 3 GPA or 2.5, less than 2.5. So what suggestion you uh,
they
yes.
there are also people who had 2.5 or 2.6 GPAs who came to Austria and they did their education here. Back then it used to be possible. Nowadays, if you I think you can still get an admission, but the problem lies with the embassy. I think what I read recently is from this year, the embassy has tried to set a regulation that they will only accept people for student visa because they want to prioritize, and they can only accept a certain number of applications after, I think, beyond 3 GPA. So for them, there are plenty of other countries like Germany who are still accepting, or maybe in Germany, it's actually also they are prioritizing based on GPA. There are other countries which are still accepting. I think you can look at those countries. But then the issue comes that where is the education free? I think there is no country left where the education is free or almost free, I would say.
Do you have any suggestion other, you mentioned other countries. Do you have any suggestion other than
The,
Germany and Austria?
These days, I think if a very good option, if you can afford a little bit, is Hungary, where you can come here. There are plenty of degree programs in English. You can study here, you can get a visa, and you can come here and study. So I think Hungary, if you can afford to pay some fee, it's still a very good option. But the other countries like the Scandinavian countries, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, it has become very difficult.
Okay, and also you mentioned that you visited Pakistan for the job search, and you mentioned 1,000 times is easier in Australia. Whether it was your motivation to serve Pakistan, go back, and or what was your
No,
plan?
no, actually, I was talking about when I graduated from my bachelor's degree. I wanted to find a job. It was extremely difficult, even at that time. I had applied for my master's degree, or I was in the process of getting the student visa, but at the same time, I was looking for some opportunity. I realized it was extremely difficult back then. So I cannot imagine how it would be right now. 10 years fast forward, okay? And here, whenever I used to apply, I used to the people used to respond. I used to get either a rejection email or they used to tell me that sorry, right now we cannot hire you because of this. So that for me, that was a very different perspective. And here you could speak to people because there were not thousands of candidates competing for a position, especially in a technical field, because the technical fields here are quite difficult, and there are a lot of people who are focused on studying these fields. So
Okay.
this is why there was an opportunity, and there is still an opportunity if you have a technical background and you can do some work, then I think there's still an opportunity. And the opportunity comes from when the people, local people or the people from Europe, they are not studying in these fields, and that's why they are asking people from other countries to come here.
Okay, okay, that's good. And also, for example, if someone want to start the PhD after master while doing the job, what's the scenario here in Austria?
There are two kinds of what I've seen mostly is that the PhD here is also a paid position. So PhD is a job. So you're working at the university doing your thesis, but you are on a contract and they pay you. So it's a salary. So officially you are employed. In the system, it shows that you're employed. Most of the people are there working like that. Unless you have funding from yourself, okay, or I have barely seen, or till now I have not seen anyone who is not working and financing it himself. Okay, so if you are working at the university and you are also doing your writing your thesis, then that's the usual way. But industry, why doing a job in industry and also doing PhD, this is kind of impossible because when you are working 40 hours per week, you barely have any time to do your PhD. So that's why people try to find a job at the university. So it's a university-based position where you also do your PhD and also you work at the university.
Okay, okay, that's nice, that's nice. And one thing, for example, what is the salary range of engineers, those engineers just joining the industry at the beginner level and mid-level career or something like that?
So what I can tell you that if you're starting if you're a fresh graduate from, yeah, and you have a master's degree, and then your starting salary would be from 3,000 euros, but that is of course before tax. And if you are a mid-level engineer, then your salary could be from 5,000 to 7,000. It really depends on your company and experience and so on. Because I have a friend who is also working at Microsoft. He's earning 130,000 euros per annum. And you can divide it by 12 and see that how much it's around 10,000 euros per month. So you can also earn 10,000 euros per month, but it's before tax.
Yes, yes, yes.
And so like this, it really on your mid career, it depends on your how good you are at negotiating, where you are working, your kind of employer, and so on. But if you are a fresh graduate, I think you can get somewhere from 3,000 euros quite easily.
Asami, can
That's
you tell us how much tax is, how much percent?
Taxes, really, there is a tax table. It depends on how much you earn. The more you
Right.
earn, the more you are charged. So, for example, the person who's earning 120, 130,000 euros per annum per year
Yeah.
would be paying 50% to the government. That means he at the end he's left with maybe after 10,000, he's left with 5,000 euros per month in his pocket.
Yeah.
Five to
Yeah.
6,000.
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
So
Right.
that's the
Right.
catch. And the
Yeah.
person who's earning 3,000 euros, he will be getting 2,200 after tax.
After tax, approximately. So the
Yeah.
more you earn, the more you pay the tax.
Yeah, so the more you earn, the more you are penalized for earning more. And the less you
Yeah.
earn, you are encouraged for
Encourage you
earning
learning it.
less.
So Asami, exactly that was my next question. So people are not demotivated to earn more.
Yes, yes, they actually you are demotivated. Sometimes it happens that you get a salary increase, and in reality, so officially your salary is increasing, but in reality your salary is decreasing. How it's decreasing? Because of all the deductions. So if you
Yeah.
add a few euros and you are going to a different tax bracket, that means that maybe you are paying 40% tax before, now you are paying 50%. So in reality, you're getting paying more tax, and because of those tax, you're getting less in your account. So it's also, I would say, a bit tricky that the more you are, yeah, sometimes it's discouraging, and this is why I wrote the post that you read that
Yeah.
what are we getting with by paying this tax? So you're not getting any services.
So, sometime it comes in the mind, especially somebody like you after spending 11 years, definitely there are people who have spent 2 decades, more than two. Sometimes they realize, yeah, if it has to go, you can maintain a very good standard, no doubt about it, as far as Austria is concerned. But apart from that, did this thing come in your mind, discourages you to live in Austria, earn more, or you
Yes,
decide, no, I have to
so
leave this?
no, so the thing is right now, so that's I think a very good question because once I have the citizenship, what's stopping me from staying here? I don't think it's a job because the job you can get anywhere in the world, and there are plenty of
Yeah,
good jobs. If
yeah,
you are working in the Middle East as someone
yeah,
coming with a Western citizenship, you can
yeah,
earn way more rather
way,
than
way,
coming
yeah,
from an Asian country. Okay,
yeah,
so the thing is that over there is no tax everywhere. So what a lot of people are doing, they're getting their residence or their passports because then they can always come back here. They are
yeah.
moving to Middle East. They are earning over there, I would say, much higher salary, or even in the same
Yeah.
salary what they are getting here, but they are paying no tax, and this
No
is fine
tax.
for them.
Yeah.
So this is, I think, one of the thought that comes to my mind that okay, if we are paying this much, is it really worth it? Or maybe we should seek alternatives. Maybe another country offers a better opportunity where there is more tax. So maybe then if you are not paying any tax, then perhaps you're earning more. So it's a different mindset that it's an increase for you, increment for you.
So, Samay, you believe, is it worth it? What's the answer? Yes or no? What do you think? Is it worth it?
I think if you are, yeah, if you're making this migration or if you're moving somewhere for an opportunity or an experience, I think it's definitely worth it. But that also, the tricky part is you need to have some kind of experience from here because in the Middle East, they really value if you have worked in the West. So they
Yeah.
really value that you have worked, for example, like 10 years in the West and you have this kind of experience, then you can
Yeah.
go there and you can work there. So yes, it's very rewarding. It is, I think, worth it. Because when I spoke to people who are working there, the kind of lifestyle that they're maintaining, yeah, and the kind of wages that they're earning, they are much more higher than what you could earn.
And Samay, apart from salary, yes, you're living with your family. I hope so. Education is free. The medical facility is free.
Yes.
Leave the life
So
standard worth it.
yeah, so the if you do all this math, okay, that
Yeah.
when you are paying taxes, yes, the education for your family, your children is for free, you know, and the safety, security, and this and that, and these are all the benefits that you're getting. But if, for example, you go to another country where you're getting better salary, you could possibly afford a better school with that because you will not paying 50% in the tax. Then you could
Yeah.
definitely afford a driver, servant or a household help at home, and then you could afford a better school. I think still it's worth it. You can still do a better job because here you do not have any option. Okay, so that's I think it's definitely possible.
That's why not the people in the higher authority, in the high ups, why not they really make a decision in this way? They can lose many intelligent people, great minds. People will move from here. Why they should stay in order to bring the lower
Yeah,
class up? And why you are losing such genius minds in the long
the
run? Is there
yes
any
the
special serious thought in the government level?
yeah, the problem is that they were have recently there was a discussion that they should change this kind of taxation system that actually encourages people or rewards people who are working more. But the problem comes from the majority of the people. Let's say if the majority of the people in a country they are of a working class, okay,
Yeah,
then do you think that they would these 70% people or 80% people they would vote for it or against it? It's an extremely unpopular measure.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
not also not that easy. So you are trying to give benefit to probably 10% of the people or 15% of the people, and this would give a lot of disadvantage. Then how would you
To
fund
rest 80%.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. How would you fund the pension system? There
Mhm.
are a lot of old people. You need to pay pensions, you need to pay unemployment benefits, you need to pay for healthcare and so on. So how would you fund this kind of system? This is also
Mhm.
if the money is being reduced, then where would the money come from? Then there is a
Come
deficit.
from.
So this
Yeah,
is not so easy, that if you are trying to reduce taxes, then you also need to increase it somewhere. This is how
somewhere.
the math should be.
Hasan bhai, if you got a passport and then you stay here, let's suppose you go to Middle East and stay there for another 10 years, it doesn't happen as nothing to do with your citizenship. It will stay as
No,
it is.
so right now, if I can live my lifetime anywhere else, and I will be a citizen, I do not need to live, because I want to add that when you want, there are a few countries when you get their citizenship, you have to renounce your Pakistani citizenship. That means you can only hold one passport. They tell you, if you
Yeah,
want to get our passport, you need to return your or you need to return your original passport, which was the Pakistani citizenship. So I had to renounce my Pakistani citizenship. I am no longer Pakistani. I am only
right,
an Austrian. So
right.
you, you can live lifetime in another country and you can still come back here. It's no problem. So because you cannot be stateless.
So, Hasan bhai, we heard the people in the USA, if whichever country they live in, whichever part of the world they live, they still have to pay the taxes. Is it true for Austria as well or not?
No, 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 no. Luckily, they do not
Okay.
have this kind of rules, because then it would be quite problematic that you have to
Yeah,
live in Middle East and you have to pay taxes. I mean, makes no sense. But a lot of
yeah.
people from the USA, they're also not very comfortable with this, and they are also looking for alternatives. Like, they
And
are
then they
changing their
withdraw their,
citizenship.
even they are ready to give up their
Exactly.
nationality.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because initially it looks very tempting, but in the longer
yeah,
run, no. And
yeah,
I also want to add one more thing, that here
yeah,
in Austria, or in a few countries like in Poland, in Germany, in Hungary, now they are in Austria, when you get your citizenship, if you are younger than 35 years old, they ask you to join the army. So you have to
yeah.
go to the army, or you have to do the social service. The social service
Social
is like you have to work at the old age home, working, helping people, or you have to go to the army to do some basic military service. So this is
service.
mandatory. You cannot avoid that.
Right.
And also
And
in countries like Germany and Poland, they are reintroducing it. So this is also a part of the package, that when you get the passport, you also have to serve the country somehow.
nothing like this in Austria.
There is. I did go to the army.
Okay. Right. For how much time?
6 months.
For 6 months. Right. Gee, Dr. Habib Saab, I think Hassan Saab has addressed all these questions all in very detail. Now over to Dr. Habib.
Thank you. There are many questions. I think so. We should. There is a long session. I think so. Let's end
Yeah.
this session. Maybe we will have invite Hassan Saab to another session.
Inshallah in future. Yeah.
So only one question, and let's end this session. For example, the industries like Hitachi and Thales, like in Europe. So, what advice you give to the international students who want to join these kind of big names?
Yes. So, sir, my only advice would be that in here, what I have learned I would say the crux of my experience is that here, at least, the grades do not matter. When you apply for a position, I have never put my GPA on my resume. I apply for the position, they look at your education and your experience. They will call you for the interview if you want to join a position. You will be there at the interview, and then they will ask you all the questions. In 30 minutes, they will know that if you have whatever you have written on your resume is correct or incorrect. And if you know something or if you don't know something, that means if you are skillful and you learn things, you know things, for sure you will get the job. But if you, despite having 4 out of 4 GPA, and you cannot answer some questions or you cannot satisfy them, then you will not get the job. So if you have a low GPA and if you have skills, then it's very easy, because it's a skill-based society. So here I would say the main focus is not the GPA but the skills. So let's just try to learn everything as much as possible, and then you have a fairly a good chance to join any big names.
That's right.
Hassan bhai, now the question rises, all those students are joining now will start their degree. So what will be messy for them in these 2 years? They should concentrate on this degree. They will what they will be learning, because after 2 years when they're going for the job, they will have no experience, definitely no experience. Will this
Yes,
degree knowledge that will be enough for them if you
yes.
can?
So the university tries to teach you everything as much as possible in these 2 years. But how it works is that when you go to the university, when I was a fresh graduate from the master's degree, I went to the industry and I was asked to do plenty of things, but there were many things which I did not know. So the problem is some people expected that you learn it in your master's degree, but you do not know this. Then how do you learn it? The university tries to teach you or give you basics of everything, okay? And
Right.
in detail, in the industry or in the big companies, they do trainings and they do trainings. Yeah, every now and then they do trainings of their employees where they teach you how to do things. For example, like one of the things which I never did was high voltage tests or insulation tests. I never did this somewhere, and even in the university, and over at my company, and my boss asked me that you should do high voltage tests or insulation tests of a system. And I asked, told them I do not know this. He showed me once, that's it. And asked, told me, can you do this? I said, yeah. So after that, I had to do it myself. So probably someone will show you just once, but after that, you have to do it yourself. So there's
Right.
also there's still a learning opportunity. Every day you learn something new. The learning process never stops.
Right, right. Hassan bhai, thank you very much for your time coming all the
No
way in this
problem.
show. I think you have asked plenty of questions. We got list of questions from our listeners as well. They've sent some questions and we tried to cover them as Dr. Habib mentioned. I think we may be conducting one more session. It would be really
No
great if
problem.
you join us for one more session. Ji, Dr. Habib Sahab.
Ji, sir, thank you very much. And many questions was I don't want to ask because a lot of time we already taken from you. So really thank you very much. And also in English and Danke schon in German, I think.
Sir, I'm very much impressed, sir. It's a pleasure to be on your show, actually, on your podcast, I would say. I'm really quite glad that I could answer as many questions as possible or try to give an insight of how the life is day to day. And no problem, sir. I'm always available. If there are few further more questions, we can also probably do another session where we could do some other questions or clarify other doubts because the knowledge, there are many things which I did not know and I had to learn by experience, but if I can provide this knowledge to someone else, that's also fine for me, so I would be helpful. I would be glad to do that, sir.
Thank you, and have a nice time.